Shalom, everyone. My name is Erez Soref. I'm the president of One for Israel.
Weakness, turn to God with hope and call to Him from the depths of your heart. O Lord my God, I have done this because I am what I am. And so nothing can be expected of me, but such transgressions are even worse. If thy grace does not help me and I am left to myself alone, I grieve over what I have done, especially because my life has no righteousness responding to thy care for me. But I continue to fall and fall. Forgive me and give me the strength not to offend thee again and in no way to digress from thy will. This is the counsel of St. Nicodemus. Notice, don't be shocked. Don't be shocked at your falls. Sometimes that shock is pride, thinking you are something when you're not. Don't be shocked, even if it's 1,000 times a day. Number 2, establish yourself in humility born of reality. He says here, I am what I am. Don't be shocked. Don't be shocked. Be grieved, of course. Be grieved. Don't reconcile with your selfishness. Don't reconcile with your self-love. Of course, we're in war. But don't be shocked by it. Don't be shocked. What do you think you are if you're shocked? Instead, establish yourself in the humility that's born of reality. I am what I am. So nothing can be expected of me but such transgressions or even worse. And then lastly, he says in this paragraph, don't torture yourself. It's fruitless. It doesn't help at all. The Lord doesn't receive any pleasure from you torturing yourself. You don't obtain grace by torturing yourself. In fact, it's called here by St. Nicodemus a waste of time without profit. Instead, he says, humble yourself. That's the appropriate response every time we fall, even if it's the first time of the day or the 1,000th time in the single hour. He continues in the next paragraph. Having done this, do not torment yourself with thoughts as to whether God has forgiven you. This is also a subset of the torturing of yourself, right? Don't torture yourself, he said, and then don't torment yourself with thoughts that somehow God has not forgiven you or won't forgive you. The Lord is near and listens to the sighing of his servants. So calm yourself in the certainty. Having regained your calm, continue your usual occupations as though nothing had happened. Don't be shocked. Calm yourself in the certainty of God's love. Regain your calm and continue your usual occupations as though nothing has happened. You must do this not once, but if necessary, 100 times in every minute. And the last time with the same perfect trust and daring towards God as the first. In doing this, you will render due honor to the infinite goodness of God, far from being presumptuous, being humble and calling on the mercy of God and resting in that mercy. This is not being proud. This is giving God due honor for his infinite goodness and his immeasurable love, which is far.
The Medadas do not forgive or forget.
I'm undisputed.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift. "30 seconds until minions spawn. Minions have
I
spawned.
don't like hurting people. I like the money I get from hurting people. Nothing people hate more than a guy. Anyone knows my knuckles? Time for a chin check. Take your best shot. Probably shouldn't have worn my nice pants to this. Oh, the line of people trying to take me down just ain't long enough. Facebreaker! Violence is my business, and business is I don't bother with jabs. If you're throwing, throw it hard. I ain't no half-breed. I'm a full breed, and I'm the only one. You know who you're messing with? All men must be me. They ain't me.
First blood.
You got nerve. thinks they're the one to beat me. Okay. You're in my pit now. Everyone's got a plan till they get slammed into the ground. The cracking of bones is the clinking of coins. Busted heads. 183. And one. It ain't how many times you get knocked down. It's how many times you get back up.
An ally has been slain.
Just gotta do yourself. You technique is for lightweights. Somewhere out there's a demand that needs. High knife! Let's throw down!
An enemy has been slain.
You don't really know someone until you fuck them to death.
An ally has been slain.
If I ever find my old man, well, I hope he's been training. Everyone loses. Well, almost everyone.
has been slain.
Bring the ruckus. Glad I don't have to fight me. Busted heads! Be right back. Gotta check on some, legitimate business.
An ally has been slain. Shut down. Enemy double kill.
Someone hold my coat. This is the part where you bleed. Facebreaker! People say they don't like violence, but they all watch.
Ally has been slain.
I hate him.
Turret plating will soon fall. An ally has been slain.
I almost felt that one.
Your turret has been destroyed.
My coat costs more than this whole damn place. High knife!
Your turret has been destroyed. Shut down.
Busted heads! You got my money?
An ally has been slain. Enemy killing spree.
Ring the bell.
Turret has been destroyed.
Let's get to it.
An ally. Enemy double kill.
Well, when life gives you lemons, punch life in the throat. Must be a fight.
Your turret has been destroyed.
Busted heads. Only thing an honest living makes you is broke. Being the boss is a lot better than not being the boss. So, that's losing, huh?
An enemy is unstoppable.
Some fighting words.
An enemy is legendary. Your turret has been destroyed. enemy is legendary.
All right, I'm warmed up now. People with swords.
Has been slain.
Hi, nice. Who's looking to lose a fight today? Gotta put the stamp on him. You calling me out?
Dominated.
Oh, great. Did that leave a mark?
An enemy is godlike. Enemy double kill.
Show them the way.
Has been destroyed. Your turret has been destroyed.
Quiet before I came along.
Your turret has been destroyed. Enemy is legendary. Your inhibitor has been destroyed. Your turret has been destroyed. Enemy double kill. Your inhibitor has been destroyed. Enemy is legendary. Defeat.
What we're doing here is more of a symbolic action. So we've tied a tape that says, "Connect the dots, scene of alleged crime, corruption, and capture."
He had a collection of ties.
Say 20.
Syria. Iraq, Iran, Somalia, Sudan, and Lebanon. Systematically, the United States has done Netanyahu's bidding for almost 30 years now.
You're blaming Israel for all of it, and fine, that's your view. Many people would say, no, it's been...
I'm blaming Netanyahu in particular. Overthrow governments in the neighborhood, expand the war, draw the United States in. The U.S. Is always available at Israel's behest.
You're never quite so keen to take a view that is anti-dictators. I mean, Assad is a pretty vile dictator.
It's sickening. It's tiring, because these wars are disasters.
Do you think the CIA would launch a chemical weapons attack simply to smear Assad?
Of course it would. Are you kidding? It's done much worse than that.
President Trump campaigned in part on ending Putin's war on Ukraine and Israel's war on Hamas. An escalating crisis in Syria may now join that bulging in tray of foreign policy headaches. Rebel groups have seized control of most of Aleppo, shattering the stalemate of a brutal war that never formally ended. The attack is being led by Islamist militant group HTS, which is designated as a terror organization by the United States and the UK, among others. It appears to have caught President Bashar al-Assad and his allies by surprise. Putin's Russia have now launched airstrikes on rebel command centers in defense of al-Assad. But suddenly the conflict is red hot. More than 300,000 people have been killed since the Syrian civil war erupted in 2011. The resulting exodus of millions of Syrian refugees has had profound consequences for Western politics. The US has heavy fingerprints on many of the key junctions in this conflict and could play a decisive role in what happens next. Here to make sense of it is Professor Jeffrey Sachs. Professor Sachs, great to have you back on Uncensored.
Great to be with you. Thank you, Piers.
I always get a tremendous amount of feedback when you come on. Not all of it entirely positive for me, but that's fine. That's what a democracy is all about. Let me just start with your overview of what is happening in Syria and how significant you think it is.
I think it's interesting, as you pointed out, the U.S. Calls HTS a terrorist group, but obviously the U.S. is part of what's happening these days. Jake Sullivan said, well, yes, it's a terrorist group, but it is giving Assad a run for his money. Wink, wink. This is a U.S., Israel, Turkey operation. It is part of Netanyahu's long-term game plan that goes on for 30 years to overthrow governments throughout the Middle East that back the Palestinian cause. And they did apparently catch both the Russians and the Iranians and the Syrians off guard with this maneuver in recent days. At least that's what seems to be the case. But I'm sure that this is an Israel, U.S., and Turkish operation. Turkey has its own issues in this with the Kurds in Syria. For Israel, this is standard fare. Overthrow governments in the neighborhood, expand the war, draw the United States in, and the U.S. Is always available at Israel's behest to play games and expand wars. And that's what we're seeing right now. From what we can gather of sporadic and, of course, very incomplete reports, I don't think that this is going to topple Assad. There are reinforcements pouring in from Iraq, probably from Iran, probably the Syrian forces as well internally are regrouping after having been caught by surprise but this is essentially at the core a Netanyahu operation.
What is wrong with theorizing that it might just be that Syrian rebels represent a large body of Syrians who actually do want to overthrow a dictator that they believe has had a malevolent effect on their lives, and they've chosen the moment to do it when Assad's big backer, Putin, is being massively stretched in the war in Ukraine, and they probably felt now's as good a time as ever.
Yeah, whatever may be true or not about that, wars cost a lot of money. They require a lot of armaments. They require a lot of logistics. They require a lot of intelligence. I don't mean mental intelligence. I mean information gathering and so forth. And wars are not fought out of sentiment. Wars are fought with money and armaments. And therefore, you can always find major powers behind these wars. And in the case of Syria, it was Obama in 2011 who tasked the CIA to work with the Saudis at the time and with Turkey at the time to overthrow Assad. This was at Israel's behest, in my understanding and interpretation. But it required billions of dollars from the U.S., from Saudi Arabia, from Turkey, havens in Turkey, and so forth. And this is the normal point. These are not sentiments against Assad. These are organized wars, and wars are expensive, and that always means turn the attention back to the major powers, whether it's the regional powers or the United States standing behind them.
What is really interesting about the sort of modern history of all this is I was at CNN when the Arab Spring erupted, soon after I joined, actually, in 2011. And a lot of those leaders, stroke dictators in that region were toppled. But Assad managed to avoid it. And I found a quote. This is Barack Obama, president at the time, of course, August the 20th, 2012, talking about his red line for Assad.
We have been very clear to the Assad regime, but also to other players on the ground, that a red line for us is we start seeing a whole bunch of chemical weapons moving around or being utilized. That would change my calculus. That would change my equation.
Now, what happened is that shortly after that, that's exactly what happened. Assad used chemical weapons, and that as a result, Obama was, by his own words, obligated to do something about it, but didn't. He ducked his own red line. And it was at that moment that Vladimir Putin, who I remember, and I'm sure you do as well, suddenly wrote extraordinarily an op-ed piece in the New York Times, of all places. And then he moved in to support Assad and effectively took control as Assad's main supporter in Syria. And many people think that that was the catalyst for a lot of the problems that then followed. Is that an accurate assessment of what happened, do you think?
Not really, although I did witness some of that close up, even at the G20 in St. Petersburg around the time of these events. What this starts, and it's really fascinating to go back, it starts in 1996 with Netanyahu, who wrote a book called Fighting Terrorism. And the thesis of the book is quite straightforward and very dangerous. He says, you know, there's Hamas, there's Hezbollah, they oppose Israel. It's not good for us to fight them directly. That won't work. What we need to do is topple the governments that back them. So what we need is regime change throughout the Middle East. And he actually gave a long list of 7 countries that included Syria, Libya, Iraq, Iran, Somalia, Sudan, and Lebanon. And systematically, the United States has done Netanyahu's bidding for almost 30 years now, going to war with every one of them, except for the big one that Netanyahu so much longs for, which is the war directly between the United States and Iran. But the U.S. went to war with Syria in 2011, secretly, of course. This was what's called Operation Timber Sycamore. It was Obama assigning the CIA to overthrow Assad. Overtly, the United States overthrew Muammar Gaddafi in 2011. It's interesting, Piers, to go back to 2002. This is after 9/11, of course, to watch Netanyahu as being the lead cheerleader for the U.S. to overthrow Saddam Hussein. Now we have a treasure trove of documents coming out that this was really a war on Israel's behalf. Everything about the weapons of mass destruction was phony, known to be phony inside the U.S. government, but this was the argument that was given, and Netanyahu was there in Washington telling him it'll be just great if you take out Saddam Hussein. It's going to topple all the rest of the governments. The idea was, incidentally, that Saddam would be toppled and then the U.S. military would go right into Syria right away. But then an insurgency trapped the United States inside Iraq so that the Syrian war was actually delayed 8 years. But what we're watching is this crazy Netanyahu idea of regional war so that Israel can have its greater Israel, as they call it. In other words, everything is to stop the Palestinian cause, and the U.S. keeps being involved in these wars. And there was Jake Sullivan again today explaining, yeah, terrorists, who cares about terrorists? We're toppling Assad. And this is, again, for the Israel lobby, basically.
But look, you're blaming Israel for all of it, and fine, that's your view. Many people would say, no, it's been...
I'm blaming Netanyahu in particular.
Right, and that's very clear. But America, they would say, look, we've been actively engaged in a lot of regime change and attempted regime change in that region for a specific reason. These countries are being run by malevolent dictators who have a hatred of the United States, and it's in our self-interest, never mind anybody else's. I mean, could the two things be true at the same time? Yes, it suits Netanyahu and his bigger view of the region. I'm sure that's true. But it could also be absolutely in their belief in America's interests to do this. I mean, like, I don't agree with them, but could it be that is a genuine belief on their part?
I agree with you that it's absurd because what is...
Humanity has one redeeming trait. We learn from our mistakes. You certainly gave us a scare for a bit there, but the damage doesn't seem to have been lasting. Thank you for doing the right thing. The end of learning is the beginning of death.
You have made peace with our land. For now, my spear is lowered.
You are a hunter of man. Today you have hunted bandits. Tomorrow, when you are restless, will you hunt us? You should go. Find another hunting ground. Leave us in peace. You are a hunter.
travel far.
I am not surprised. I saw you, in my slumber, drive the darkness away. I am sorry that I did not tell you before. What I see is only what might happen, and I did not want to fill you with more confidence than would have been good for you. Remember,
I knew this strangeness would pass. Silk does not run from such things. I stand, I guard, when others shiver and shake. The path to the sea is open. You are a legend that lives, exile.
Thank you for returning our reality to us. I think we've all had a glimpse of what could happen if Piety tries to harness the power of the Vaal for her own ends. A man-crafted mountain of 4 sheer sides. That's a pyramid. Vaal architecture. I've covered a lot of the countryside with Piety and seen nothing like that. Still, history is in the habit of burying its dead. Perhaps you could try looking down instead of up.
There you are! How goes it?
Is that the exile I spy?
Hark! What luck does this man have? Terrible! Hark! Hark! Oh.
That will do nicely.
Ah!
Well, it's not nothing. Happy hunting.
Hello, hello, hello.
Got some goods in from... Aye. Off they go.
Hello.
I love this job. I see ya.
I spend far too much time here. The fair Mary Lane should be sailing high, not stuck here in port.
It's all about marketing.
Around here, far too much money passes through hands that aren't mine.
March with us in King's March. No, no. March with us in King's March. No, no.
What have you got? Happy hunting. to find more of those damned exotic coins for the harbor master. Oh. Oh. Ahoy there! Toodles! Ahoy there! Doodles! Hello! Hello, hello! Happy hunting! Ahoy there! Good luck to you. Oh.
damn useless virtue gem doesn't do anything. I should have a drink with Tujin later. damn useless virtue gem doesn't do anything.
Around here, far too much money passes through hands that aren't mine.
Are fickle here.
Hello. The end is coming, exile. Of that, I'm sure. Just not so sure when. Maybe tomorrow? Maybe 3 years from now? No more than 3 years from now. When the end arrives, we must be ready. The first ones will return. They will bring the survivors with them to the Great Grove. We must prove we are worthy. We must sacrifice the beasts we find at the blood altar. Feed the altar the blood of these beasts, and the first ones will bless us, and perhaps reveal to us their secrets. survivor, just like Einar. That is my name, exile, Einar. In my native tongue, it means lone fighter. That is what Einar was for many years. But it is dangerous now to fight alone. Too dangerous, even for the mighty Einar. We are in the final days of this world, exile. That I am sure. We survivors must unite, prepare for the end, and delay its arrival as long as we can. For that, we will need supplies, weapons, shelter, food. The others here do not understand me the way you do. Meet me in the riverways, and Einar will explain what must be done. You want to know Einar's past? That is Einar's business, no one else's. The end is coming, exile. Of that, I'm sure. Just not so sure when. Maybe tomorrow? Maybe 3 years from now? No more than 3 years from now. When the end arrives, we must be ready. The first ones will return. They will bring the survivors with them to the Great Grove. We must prove we are worthy. We must sacrifice the beasts we find at the blood altar. Feed the altar the blood of these beasts, and the first ones will bless us. And, perhaps, reveal to us their secrets. Not all beasts were born equal, survivor. The first ones look upon some captures and sacrifices more fondly than others. You may not even deem some beast worthy of sacrifice. Do not worry. Einar has imbued some orbs with powerful blood magic. You can use these bestiary orbs on any beast in the menagerie, and the beast will be bound to the orb. Then you can do whatever you want with it. Give it to a handsome man like Einar, maybe. You cannot tell, but I am very handsome under this mask. Once a bestiary orb contains a beast, you can use it again to release the creature to the menagerie. Be careful, though. It will break the orb. The end is coming. Prepared for the end? They were the first survivors. The first ones showed my people that to win, you must outlast. They left this world long ago to seek other survivors. But they will return. And when they do, I will join them in the Great Grove. And you will join Einar, yes? Yes. You want to know Einar's past? That is Einar's business, no one else's. Not all beasts were born equal, Survivor. The first ones look upon... See you, Survivor.
Hello. I retrieved the Transmutia device from the Chamber of Sins, and I believe I can rig it to imbue equipment with magical modifications. This may involve minor meddling with dark forces we don't understand, but we'll have to take that risk. Rayclast is a dangerous place, and we'll never get anywhere by playing it safe. As long as we treat the process scientifically and approach it methodically, we should be able to craft equipment to our needs. Malachi himself gave this Transmutia device to Malagaro. It makes me incredibly uncomfortable to think about the horrors that it helped bring into being. But I must remind myself that science is not responsible for what happened in the Chamber of Sins. Science provides tools for mankind to manipulate the world. It is up to each of us to choose to do good or evil with the power so provided. Malagaro was the evil responsible, and Malachi before him. Together, you and I are going to start using this device to undo the damage they did. I was no wonder child back in Oriath, but I prided myself on what junior accomplishments I managed to put together within the strict set of allowed sciences. Archaeology was my specialty, and Dominus and his ilk had an uncommon fascination with artifacts from the past. And I was told I was crucial, that I was important, because I could tell whether an artifact was truly Vaal simply by running my hand along faded stone patterns. I may have had a head slightly too big for my shoulders. When the Ebony Legion made available an archaeologist position on their expedition to Rayclast, and nobody volunteered, I thought my colleagues were all simply afraid of continental dangers. No, they knew better. None were allowed to speak it openly, but they knew. I didn't find out what kind of society I was truly a part of until I saw Piety's aspirations. I studied the Vaal. I knew all about their downfall, or at least our Templar-twisted perception of it. Piety's ocean of slaughter. The Vaal called their hubris the apex of sacrifice. The Eternal Empire called theirs the Purity Rebellion. We call ours the Temple of Lunaris. And I know nothing, Exile. Nothing at all. Save that we are doomed to repeat the mistakes of the past, unless we learn the hard way. While you're out there, try to remain vigilant for other possible locations for hideouts. The blackguards never give up, and they may eventually stray close to this place. I want to have a backup location ready to go in the event we need to make a quick exit. When I first met him, I underestimated Einhar. Coming from the poorest of Ezamites, themselves already a battered people in this region of the world, Einhar struck me as someone who could contribute brawn to our cause, but not much else. How wrong I was. If anyone can decipher the dark design afflicting the creatures of Rayclast, it's him. I've been looking for the source of all this, an equation or overall pattern, but he's unknowingly taken an empirical approach. By learning about and understanding every single corrupted animal and the energies their blood contains, he's done more to advance our understanding of the problem than I could ever have done myself. One day, he may even solve the symptoms of corruption without ever understanding the root cause. Make no mistake, Exile, that's impressive. A humanistic brute force approach to a cosmic problem.
Can't do this just yet.
A worthy opponent.
think it's time to shed the dream of home. It's a little tight around the collar. I believe in traveling light. There'll be time for that soon enough.
Matamor Patur thanks you, exile, for returning our Clarissa to us. She is the gentle heart of this place, a spirit still capable of love in this wasteland of hatred. Yet that gentle heart remains in jeopardy. Tolman isn't deserving of Clarissa, but she'll not smile until he's by her side. Dominus and his Ebony Legion arrived some time ago. Now the blackguards scour Sarn like hungry maggots on a carcass. What are they looking for? Only that which is best left unfound. Talakota.
Now you're a familiar face. A face that cost me a good deal of coin back in the arenas of Theopolis. Took you for a privileged pretty boy with a death wish. Bet all that against you. Turns out you're as dandy with the blade as you were with your wardrobe. Well, at least you've brought Clarissa back to us. I'll take that as half payment for what I figure you owe me. Problem is, one died lover isn't much good to anyone. Like gloves, they tend to be more useful than pairs. The missing glove in this case is a young fella named Tolman. Fetch Tolman back for us, and you and I can happily call it quits. You getting there? The slums are east of here. Used to house the unwashed of the Empire a couple centuries back. Now it's home to the walking ulcers and sores of this poor city. Stay out of the shadows.
Need something? You're alone. So Tolman's... You didn't go to the crematorium? No, of course you didn't. This isn't your fight. I'm sorry. It was wrong of me to put that on you. To ask you to risk your life for someone you don't even know. Don't worry. I'll work something out. I always do. see you.
Keep your distance, exile. The name's Grigor, and when you've had your eyes fill of my twisted visage, how about you turn those fine jellies of yours eastward? Yes, you've brought Clarissa home to us, and once again I see she pesters me with pity. There's only so much broth, so many bouquets that a man can take. For a criminal, Clarissa has a strangely soft center. Still, I'd rather not see that heart of hers harden. See if you can find that lost boy mate of hers. With him around, Clarissa doesn't have as much time to bother me. Death came to town. The roaring Ezomites wore red. The red of blood, the red of the fray. Death came to town. The crying Ezomites were black. Black of disease, black of dismay. Death came to town. The silent Ezomites wore gray. The gray of twilight, the gray of decay. Only the Isles of Scoth were spared. Once a backwater of my proud civilization, now tread carefully, exile. Something caught your eye?
If he would have said, I love my son, it's my only surviving child from my first marriage, I honestly don't know many Americans who would disagree with him. But that's not what he said.
Hunter's laptop tells you the story. You don't have to be a journalist.
Do you actually support what Biden has done?
Absolutely, 100%.
Wow.
Guys, oh, my beeper's going off. Sure, Dusky's a bitch. Oh.
This has given me a very bad reputation of female comics that people already don't think are funny.
I raised millions of dollars for that campaign. I did not find out until after she lost. $2.5 million was spent on Oprah.
Opportunistic grifters like Lindy Lee, who has posited herself as someone who actually cares about American democracy, no one has to pay you. It's all about influencerdom, right? It's
Now
about
you're changing
using
our
your
story.
name
Don't
and your
change your
brand.
story.
That was fun. Is it like that every night here?
It can be. It can be. With a single flick of his presidential wand, Joe Biden protected Hunter, his son, from ever facing federal charges for any crimes he committed or even may have committed over more than a decade. The sweeping and extraordinary breadth of this magic trick has staggered supporters and opponents alike, even casting a spell of silence over the most notable defenders of the indefensible.
I got nothing for you on that.
Can I follow up on that? Are you concerned with the lack of transparency, lack of honesty around Biden's decision to pardon?
As I said, I got nothing for you on that. Nope. Gonna s-
that pardoning anyone on the way out of office, family members, sets a poor precedent.
Thank you. I've got nothing for you on that.
But the question is, they talked about January 6th pardons. This is a playbook for incoming President Trump. Isn't this a problem? Did he not establish a bad precedent for pardons?
I got nothing for you on that. Any other subjects?
Never thought the day would come when Chuck Schumer had nothing for us. Nothing. But what could he say? This is the problem for the Democrats. There are no other subjects right now that anyone wants to talk about, and there will be no other subject when the outrage machine sputters into life to ransack President Trump's wave of pardons in the new year, which is inevitable. Even Gavin Newsom has broken ranks, telling Politico that he took Joe Biden at his word and cannot support the decision. In other words, he trusted him, got lied to, and feels betrayed. It's a total subjugation of the Democratic moral high ground, a rout. Just a few wearied soldiers remain, wandering listlessly across a deserted battlefield.
I respect it as a parent. I understand why he would do it, but I wonder to understand why lie about it for so long.
I'd stop calling it a lie.
Okay.
No, Whoopi, it is a lie. And Biden lied and lied and lied himself. And he told his press secretary, Karine Jean-Pierre, to go to the White House press room and lie to the world's media again and again and again. This wasn't an accident. It wasn't something he suddenly thought of. He'd obviously always planned to do this. But Biden repeatedly and emphatically said to the world on camera he would not pardon Hunter, his son. He was the adult in the room, the last bastion of democracy and constitutional norms, the staunchest defender of a justice system that treated everybody, as he said, as equals under the law, and that nobody would be above the law, except, as it turned out, his own son. Biden lied because it's an election year and the hypocrisy is inexcusable. Yes, of course, you are the poor aforementioned Karine Jean-Pierre.
You have said repeatedly yourself since the election, the president has said for months, no pardon was coming. I wanted to ask you, could those statements now be seen as lies from the American people? Is there really a credibility issue here given now this announcement?
First of all, one of the things that the president always believes is to be truthful to the American people. That is something that he always truly believes. And if you see the end of his, I assume that you've read his statement, and you look at the end of that statement, and he actually says that in the first line in the last paragraph.
Unbelievable. Here is that last paragraph. Biden said, for my entire career, I've followed a simple principle: to tell the American people the truth. Here's the truth. I believe in the justice system. But as I have wrestled with this, I also believe raw politics has infected this process and led to a miscarriage of justice. There's no old shortcut in journalism. If you want to cut to the actual truth, don't believe anything before the but. You can't simultaneously have faith in the justice system and believe that everyone is beholden to the law, but also believe it's corrupted and beholden to politics. Joe Biden flew 7,000 miles away from this crisis of his own making to give a speech in Angola. Luckily, it won't take him long to get home.
I'm probably the most pro-rail guy in America. I've ridden over 1,300,000 miles on a daily basis to my work, 220 miles a day for the last 50 years. Well, I didn't do it as president. I stayed in the White House a lot.
You didn't travel 1.3 million miles a day, did you, Joe Biden? It's embarrassing. This is the leader of the free world still. This is the president of the United States. As I speak, there's breaking news. Apparently he's fallen asleep during a meeting with African leaders in Angola. The Telegraph and Forbes both reporting he was visibly dozing. It's a farce. But it's worse than that, because Joe Biden presented himself as the opposite of Donald Trump, who he called a liar, a hypocrite, a shameful opportunist. We all remember what he called Trump. And then his son, and making him above the law and making him unaccountable to the law. Biden proved himself to be a liar, a hypocrite, and a shameless opportunist. I think I speak for both Democrats and Republicans when I say that January the 20th can't come soon enough. Well, joining me now to discuss all this is the founder of the 1776 Project PAC, Brian Girdusky, the streamer Destiny, the co-host of Verdict with Ted Cruz, Ben Ferguson, and host of the Bituation podcast, Francesca Fiorentini. Well, welcome to all of you. Destiny, let me start with you. You got anything? Or are you taking a Chuck Schumer defense?
No, I think if a pardon is going to exist as a presidential power, I think this is the perfect time to use it.
Really? Even when you've told the world repeatedly, I'm not going to do that, and that everyone should be beholden to the law?
I think the mistake, if Biden made a mistake, it was to say that he wasn't going to do it.
You think?
Especially after seeing the nomination of people like Kash Patel, I think it is absolutely in good prudence to use it here, rather than allow Hunter Biden to be the subject of infinite investigations for the next 4 years of Trump's presidency.
You mean how the liberals put Trump through all the criminal investigations?
Well, no, because Trump has criminal immunity from the Supreme Court, and all of his federal court cases are now dismissed, and the case in New York never had a sentencing and probably won't get one. So, no, that wouldn't be the same thing.
You seem very phlegmatic about all this, Destiny, when inside you must be hurting. Because what Joe Biden has done with one flick of his pen is he has taken away all the high moral ground that the Democrats could have had against Trump for the next 4 years. Because Trump can now pardon who the hell he likes. He can pardon every January the 6th protester. And he can do it in the sure knowledge that the moment people like you go, this is an outrage, how can you do this? He goes, you know what? At least they went to prison. Hunter Biden didn't do a day.
This is the two of the easiest questions in the world. Pierce, one, if he doesn't pardon Hunter, do you think that influences Trump's decisions at all and who he pardons next?
That wasn't what I said. I said
yes.
it removes your ability.
Absolutely
no,
not.
Destiny.
Number two.
It removes.
Number two.
Hang on. Let me answer number one first.
What have Democrats gotten for the moral
Come to number two
for the last 4 years?
Let me answer number one first. In answer to number one,
yeah.
Huh? In answer to number one, my point to you was, if he does, and I'm sure he will, you on the left have absolutely no way to now play the high moral ground. Because your guy, the president, did it even worse.
What is that? What is the high moral ground? We're down a Supreme Court pick. We lost the 2000 presidency to another Supreme Court. The president now has infinite criminal immunity. What is the moral high ground gotten the Democrats up to this point? There's no point in engaging in norms when only one side upholds the norms. And to sit here, you want to talk about a farce, to pretend that Donald Trump's future pardon decisions are going to be based on who Biden decides to pardon is hilariously stupid. And if you want to talk about pardons, something that you never will hear, why not talk about some of Trump's pardons? How much time do we give to the pardon of Bannon or Stone, who was pardoned for crimes that were literally related to covering up other crimes from Donald Trump?
Destiny?
How many people care about that? Nobody. Where's the accountability for that? Nowhere.
You know
and
the
what's
difference?
the result of those investigations? They're all canceled. So
you know the difference?
I don't want to hear anything about Hunter Biden's pardon. It's a joke.
How many days in prison did Stone and Bannon and those guys do?
I'm pretty sure. Didn't Stone get clemency before he ever stepped foot in prison?
Yeah. He was sentenced to 40 months in prison, and then Trump pardoned him.
The day before, he got clemency. Also, forget Stone. Forget Stone. It's not about how much time did Stone spend in prison. It's about Donald Trump evading responsibility and culpability because Stone didn't have to testify about him. He said it publicly. He said, oh, Donald Trump, why would I squeal on the president? And then he didn't say anything to Congress. He told another witness not to. And then when he got convicted of all those crimes, Trump said, oh, I'll pardon him. So don't talk about Hunter Biden's pardon. It's an absolute joke.
But of course, the reason that Joe Biden, let me bring in Ben Ferguson here, the reason that Joe Biden seems to have started this wide-ranging, all-encompassing free pass for Hunter from the year that he began at Burisma, where he had no experience, to be earning $1 million a year on the board of an energy company in Ukraine when Joe Biden was the vice president, literally put in charge of American-Ukraine relationships, is that it may well cover other crimes that may have been committed in relation to that, which might have led to the big guy, as people have reported, who might end up being Joe Biden. So in a way, you know, he's providing a blanket immunity, which I know Destiny's very upset about immunity, to the Biden family here.
Yeah, look, I think Hunter Biden's pardon was much more than just Hunter Biden. Forget the corruption of Hunter Biden for a second. I think this was the pretext, and I'm going to make a prediction here, to a mass amount of pardons that are about to be coming down from this White House in the closing days of this administration, because they put together a list of people they believe have probably broken laws. They put it out there in the media over the last 24 hours, and they're justifying his brother and anybody that took money with the Biden last name, anybody that was corrupt at the FBI, anybody that was going after Donald Trump. The list, and they're trying to say that it's somehow Donald Trump's enemies list, so therefore we are justified in handing out pardons to everyone that was involved in the Biden crime family or abusing their power to go after Donald Trump. And so I don't really care that much about Hunter Biden's pardon. Of course, this was always going to happen. This is a man that abused his and exploited his own son's addiction to make the Biden family more money. They didn't give a crap about Hunter Biden. They knew they were funneling money to a drug addict, and they knew that could cost him his life. They didn't care because they wanted the money to keep coming into the Biden crime family. I actually feel sorry for Hunter Biden. I feel sorry for a guy that has a father and family members that say, we've got an alibi. He's a drug addict. We'll say that's the excuse for the crimes that we're committing and the money laundering that we're doing and all the bank accounts and all the money coming in from Romania and Ukraine and coming in from China and from Russian oligarchs. And they said, this is how we get away with it. We'll sell out America, the highest bidder, to the most corrupt people in the world, and we'll get away with it by saying, oh, he was a drug addict, he didn't know what he was doing. That is abuse of a child. It's really sad.
Okay, Francesca, you've been grimacing there, but are you grimacing because in your heart you know that Joe Biden has done a massive disservice to everybody on the left here with an act of utter selfishness?
Oh, I'm grimacing just because I was imagining Ben Ferguson and Ted Cruz putting out a joint holiday card, and I was wondering if they wear matching pajamas when they do that. Do you guys do that, Ben?
I don't understand exactly what
is it
that
holiday
has
sweaters
to deal
or
with
is
the
it
idea
pajamas?
that you have a president that abused his power and exploited his son's drug addiction, put his
Where are
life
the
at risk
charges?
to make
Where are
money,
the
and you're
charges
talking
for-
about
where are
a
the
damn
charges for that?
Christmas card.
Oh, I
Where are
was
the
just,
charges?
that's why I
Those
was
were a lot of
smiling. I
fantastic-
mean,
where are the
Piers was
charges for any
asking
of
me
these
why
things?
I was smiling, but in my heart of hearts, Piers, oh man, I wish I could give you just the tiniest little violin so you could strum it there in your studio talking about the death of democracy. You know why Biden pardoned his son? It was to troll you.
Because he's
it
a
was
scumbag.
to troll everybody. And you know why he didn't? He said he
didn't
wasn't
troll
going
me.
to, and then he did? Because he doesn't.
Hey, what's up, website owners, developers, and agency pros? It is
He sold out America.
He
the
didn't
highest
troll me.
bidder. Like,
What he did was he trolled his own side because you all queued up to
Thank God
defend
he's
him
not
as
going to
being
be president.
he was the good.
Thank
remember,
God he's not going to be
in
president
all the
anymore.
debates we've had this year, he was the good guy. Trump was the liar. Trump was
Are
the
you kidding?
hypocrite.
In whose
Trump was the
mind? In
shameless
whose
guy.
mind? Your
Trump was the
mind?
nepotism guy. And then in one moment, Biden proved actually he's just as bad. He's exactly the same.
How,
and
wait,
he
wait,
will,
how is
and
the
he will
Hunter Biden
weaponize.
pardon? How is that
and he-
comparable?
and he
How is
will-
that comparable to Bannon or Stone?
Sorry, and the idea that he is using the idea of the justice system being weaponized against his family is laughable, given that
Thank
Biden
God he's not going to be
has helped
president,
direct
Piers.
the weaponization
Thank God
of
you've
the
got
justice
1
system
month left.
against Trump for
Wait,
a
wait, you
year.
have no proof of that. What, do we just lie here? Is this just a show where we just tell lies?
Well, Joe
Where's
Biden
the part
lies.
where,
Yes,
where,
yes,
where's the
haven't
part
you
where
been
Joe Biden directed the DOJ to do anything? Where is that?
Well, you think the entire weaponization of the American justice system against Trump in the last year, Biden had no involvement whatsoever?
Do you have proof of that?
I don't need proof of it. It's obvious.
I don't.
Okay, so hold on. So it's so obvious. Wait. So to be clear, it's so obvious that this DOJ is being politicized and used by Joe Biden, the same DOJ that went after his son.
That's why
The
they
same
did go
DOJ that
after his
appointed a
son, though.
special
That was the
prosecutor for when
defense
Biden
for
had
his son.
classified documents. What are we even talking? Do we even know how the government works in this country? What are we talking about right now?
All right, let me
That's
bring.
how
They
the
gave
crime
him a
works. I mean,
sweetheart deal. Wait, Piers, we got to go back to the fact that the only reason why he was actually prosecuted was because he was given such a ridiculous sweetheart deal that a judge actually stood up and said, This is abuse of power. I'm not going to accept it from Biden's Department of Justice, saying this is something I've never seen before. It is unprecedented. No, I'm not going to allow a deal for Hunter Biden that is this sweet. No, I'm stopping it. And he stood up to the Department of Justice under Joe Biden, who basically said, we can do whatever the hell we want. We can sell out as much as we want to the worst actors in the world, including Russian oligarchs who are best friends with Vladimir Putin, that gave millions of dollars to the Biden crime family and then funneled it through shell companies with 150 plus suspicious activity reports that were reported from American banks.
Convicted of? Ben,
I'm not talking about Roger Stone. I'm talking about the President of the States of America weaponizing the DOJ.
Okay, let's not all talk over each other. Don't talk over each other. Let me ask Francesca. Francesca, be honest with yourself, though. When you heard that Biden had done this, didn't your heart sink?
Why do you keep talking about my heart? I
care about your heart. I'm all heart myself.
Again, I'm thinking about Christmas cards here. No, but Ben keeps talking about Russian oligarchs. Do we know why Roger Stone and Paul Manafort
Hang on, can you answer my question, please? Hang on, no, sorry, look, I want to take this back the old-fashioned way. We have a panel. I'm the moderator. I ask the questions. Right, now, hang on. Francesca, why are you ducking my question? Just be honest.
Sorry, I'm sorry. What are you saying? What's in my heart? My heart is he did it to troll all y'all.
I said, did your heart sink when you heard he'd done it? Because you knew in that moment all the high moral ground the left have had all year with Trump, it disappears.
Absolutely not.
Really?
And if you agree, no, that's my answer, Piers.
Even when he lied repeatedly that he wouldn't do it? Even when Karine Jean-Pierre repeatedly lied that he wouldn't do it?
No.
Even when she dismissively, arrogantly put back the Fox News guys and Pete Doocy, dismissed them. How dare you keep asking me this? No, you see, but here's my problem, Francesca. Here's my problem.
But why are you interrupting me, Piers? You're just, you ask me a question, I say no, then you have a problem with my answer? Let me explain why no, instead of keep interrupting me. Okay. The reason is that Hunter Biden has never done anything to me, right? Meanwhile, Steve Bannon defrauded the American people while fundraising for Ben, is it PJs or is it holiday sweaters? You tell me. Paul Manafort lied.
Your fantasy card
Paul Manafort lied to the FBI. Paul Manafort lied to the FBI. Roger Stone also lied to the FBI about being a back
I'm talking about Joe Biden.
Piers Morgan, let me finish.
Answer my question, or I'll move on.
She won't answer the question, Piers. She doesn't know how to.
So can both of you
all you can do is talk about Roger Stone and Bannon. I don't care about them.
I swear to God, dude. Like being on this program with Best Boy and with Dingleberry over here on the Trump administration, that's you, Piers. You've reached your final form.
Dingleberry?
As just one of the little dingleberries in Trump's diaper. You're right there. And it's so sad for you, Piers, because now that Trump won re-election, he's definitely never going to do your program. And that sucks so hard. Like, doesn't that make you so sad?
You know what makes me laugh about people like you, Francesca?
You're not even going to get invited to Mar-a-Lago.
Francesca, actually, I was yesterday. It doesn't matter. And I will get an interview with Trump, probably at the White House. And when I do, I'll invite you. Sure. You can come and meet him.
No, thanks, my guy.
No, you want to do that? Let me bring in Ryan here. Look.
Ryan.
Yeah, it seems to me that the Democrats, liberals generally, have gone into a weird kind of collective anaphylactic shock, which has now been massively exacerbated by what Biden's done. Because the truth is they cannot handle the fact that this guy they spent all year calling a fascist, a Nazi, the new Hitler, the biggest bigot in the world, blah, 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 has won literally across the board everything. It's set them all slightly nuts. And people like me who basically are in the middle, I'm a kind of centrist, slightly liberal guy, right? I'm not a Trump dingleberry. I've just warned the liberals for years this was going to happen. And now it's happened. They want to blame me. And I'm like, I did try and tell you.
Right. I mean, if you look at the Trump victory overall, there's a wide range of why he lost, from woke culture to racism, misogyny. I mean, it runs the gamut. But what's really interesting about this this pardon is what Biden is saying in the pardon versus what Democrats who are supporting Biden and protecting Biden or making excuses for him are two entirely different things. Biden is saying that what Trump has said for years is true, that there is politicization inside the Justice Department. And that is a damning account because politicization of the Justice Department was completely a partisan issue. Democrats for 4 years said it wasn't happening. Republicans said it was happening. And here's the Democratic president saying, no, it happened, but it happened against my son. I think that the scope, I don't, listen, if he would have said, I love my son, it's my only surviving child from my first marriage, I honestly don't know many Americans who would disagree with him. I would feel sympathy for it, but that's not what he said. And the scope and the length into which he has given this pardon, 11 years for for everything, it is a full pardon for anything. It draws the question, what else was he doing? There was $24 million from foreign countries, including adversaries, through 20 shell companies. There's probably more. There was the issues of Hunter receiving millions of dollars in free legal services, in representation. There were probably appointments. And where does it end?
Okay, Destiny, here's the problem. Not a problem.
I'm just curious. Because I don't know all the time. Do the people who cover politics, are these like actual news people? Like, what is the background here on this show?
What's your point?
When you have people talking about the Democrats have never said.
Just go look at his laptop. He gave you all the info. Hunter's laptop tells you the story. You don't have to be a journalist to listen to anything.
Where are the charges? Hey, where are the charges? Ben, where are the charges? They've been investigating Hunter Biden for 4 years. Where are the charges? I thought we were going to get impeachment charges from Jim Jordan. Where are the charges for Hunter Biden?
It's a great question. I can answer that because I actually read it.
Which they looked into Hunter Biden was very narrow.
The DOJ made sure that the statute of limitations on the worst crimes that dealt with the tax issues were outside the statute of limitations. So if you go talk to a lawyer, they'll explain what that means to you. But the DOJ
I don't need to talk to the lawyer. I've read the documents. Thank you. I'm not
you asked the question. You asked the question. You said, where are the journalists?
You just made things that sounded like FARA violations. You're telling me the FARA violations of him illegally accepting foreign money, of him taking bribes and having money go, that the statute of limitations is what, 2 years?
Don't talk over each other, please.
I'm going to finish it again. He never registered as a foreign agent, and the statute of limitations that ran out on that for what was going on. He never dealt with the tax issues and didn't have to because we know deliberately that they purposely slow played to make sure that the worst crimes were going, and the DOJ did this. The timeline is clear. They would expire, so they couldn't charge him with those crimes. The reality is the reason why the Biden administration is now having to go back and say who else needs a damn pardon is because there was people abusing their power to make sure that the only 2 crimes that they charged Hunter Biden with could not be connected to the big guy. The gun charge didn't connect the big guy to any actual crime. And that's a fact. And the tax charges where they did charge him dealt outside of any of the money coming in from the money laundering. So the Department of Justice ran interference and said, we'll make sure we investigate this. Oh, crap. The statute of limitations ran out. Even if we wanted to charge him, we couldn't charge him with the crimes. And that's why the White House is saying, holy crap, who the hell needs another pardon here? It's that simple.
Okay.
And go read the laptop.
Easy question for you then, right? So the reason why Mueller was appointed was because an actual obstruction of justice was Donald Trump firing Comey to try to stop the investigation into his illegal activity.
You have the right to fire who you want to fire when you become the president. You should have fired him day one.
What was the equivalent action on the White House and their influence on the DOJ? Give me the equivalent action. Where is the intrusion of Biden into the DOJ?
All right, I'll answer the question simply. If you understand presidential powers, you would understand that you serve at the pleasure of the president, and the president had the right to fire James Comey whenever he wanted to, and he should have done it day one, but he went against his advisors when he did that. James Comey, by the way, laughed on TV about sending in FBI agents because the Trump administration was too trusting, too new, and too green to Washington to go after General Flynn to try to get dirt on Donald Trump.
So you have nothing. You're lying.
On stage.
You have nothing. Flynn lied to the FBI.
On stage.
That's the guy
that you want to defend
Donald
right now? Are
Trump's
you kidding
meddling
me?
in the DOJ. There is no equivalent to that on the Biden White House, which is why what you just said was a bunch of nonsense.
Then why are they talking about giving pardons out to so many people? Hold on, then answer me this question.
Hang on.
Answer this question then.
Hang on. Destiny, you say that the Biden administration has done nothing to meddle with the DOJ. He has literally pardoned his son, who's been convicted of criminal offenses. That is.
Why did you just say bingo? What do you think a pardon is? How is a pardon meddling in the DOJ?
You don't think it's meddling with justice?
Because the DOJ and the judge even said yesterday that this was the most despicable abuse of power. Go listen to what the judge said, who's not a conservative judge, who wrote a scathing rebuke of the Biden administration's abuse of power after there had been a conviction for his son. Go read what the judge wrote, and you might understand.
I'm sorry.
Wow,
Do you
this
think
is a
that
bad
when does a
precedent.
pardon happen if not after a conviction? What do you think a pardon is for? Is every single pardon?
That wasn't my point. My point,
Pierce,
Destiny.
please, let me
Yeah.
say this. If it's this is the
Let
part
Pierce
where
talk.
you
You have no
need to
idea-
listen
to
to
be
what
honest,
you're
you have no
saying.
idea what
No,
you're
listen
talking about.
to what you're saying.
No
You
idea
just
what you're talking
said
about. What's
that
Pierce
you
gonna say?
only give a pardon when someone's been convicted. If that was true, they wouldn't have just given a 10-year absolute pardon to Hunter Biden for a bunch of crimes he committed in case he is actually investigated for the damn crime.
The whole point of issuing that pardon
you're wrong.
is to make it so that you guys can't spend the next 4 years playing Hillary's emails
If you
with
did
Hunter
nothing
Biden. That's
wrong,
the whole
then
point.
you
Because
shouldn't
that's what
worry
you guys
about
do.
it.
Like you tried with Hillary,
He
like
didn't
you
do
tried
any
with
of Hillary's
Benghazi
emails
and
anyway.
failed over and over and over again with all these bullshit investigations. You do like you've done now with Hunter Biden.
Destiny,
like you did with Ken Starr and Bill
Wait,
Clinton.
wait, wait,
Destiny, hang on,
is Hunter Biden bullshit now when he's been convicted?
hang on. Destiny, to be clear, Destiny,
in the House, they're going to bring in
Destiny,
peace charges to Joe Biden and has nothing. But here you
Destiny,
are still speaking
calm down.
the same lies about the Biden crime family.
Destiny,
The same lies.
hang on, please. Can I get involved here? Destiny, a question for you, which is Gavin Newsom, who was one of the most vocal supporters of Biden, even when everyone else was chucking him under a bus. Even he has come out and said he cannot support this decision. Do you actually support what Biden has done? Do you support it?
Absolutely, 100%.
Wow. So actually, in the end, you do support lying,
Screw
hypocrisy,
democracy.
and shamelessness, and obstructing justice. You support all those things.
No, what the
Well, you
pardon of
do.
Hunter Biden
course
is
you
a
do.
trillionth
You
of
do.
what Donald Trump. It's not even close.
And if
It's not
Trump
even
had done this,
close.
Orange
if
man
Trump
bad,
had done
Piers.
this to
Orange
Donald
man
Trump
bad.
Jr.,
Go back
you'd
to
have said
that.
the complete
It's not
opposite.
even close.
Let me
The
anyway.
Hunter
Look,
stuff
let me
is way
segue
worse.
to.
In
I want
Donald
to segue.
Trump's administration, after the traitors, okay, over here that support Donald Trump tried
Donald
to
Trump
overthrow the
bad.
government in 2020, after they tried to overthrow the government and failed, people like Eastman and Giuliani were asking to be put on the pardon list.
All right,
Okay.
let me-
Donald Trump is literally
They were-
talked about
Okay,
pardoning people that were
let me-
involved in the J6 attack. And guess what? When he does, Piers, you're going to have a 20-minute segment on it, and you're going to move on to see if you can dig up something else
Hey,
about
Piers,
the Bidens
Piers,
or Kamala
we're the-
Harris.
No, I will
I just
go
think it's
after.
sad because you guys are all just
We're
jealous
Donald
that
Trump-
he's
hey, Piers,
massively
true or
endowed,
false?
and
We're
so it's
Donald
his
Sorry,
dad.
hang on,
And Ben
hang
knows
on,
that
hang on,
better than
hang on.
Anybody
Hey,
else.
Francesca, sorry, what
Piers.
was that?
I was just saying, I mean, the only crime, I guess, in Ben's eyes that Hunter Biden really committed was showing just how well endowed the Biden family is. And I can see from Ben's perspective how that, might feel like, a
If
crime
this is your
against
argument
him and his
defending a
manhood.
man that abused women, like as a woman, you should at least
Abused women,
understand that there were
paying for
women that were
sex work
abused
is abusing
sexually.
women. I don't think so.
I would
Were they
say yes.
17?
Call me old
Were they
school,
17
yes.
and trafficked over
Trafficking
state
women,
lines?
when
Nah,
you're
man.
That's not the
trafficking
only
women
thing he
and
did.
getting them addicted to drugs, yeah, that's
You mean
abusing
Matt
women.
Gaetz?
If you
You
want to
mean
say
Matt
that that's
Gaetz?
good, that's on you.
Look, here's the difference between the pardons between Trump and Joe Biden, right? Number one, Joe does this to troll y'all, and so you have something to talk about. But number two, the people that Donald Trump pardoned not only included everyone who allowed and helped him to back channel with the Russian government in the 2016 campaign, like
Piers,
Paul
come on.
Manafort,
This is
like
the
Roger
biggest-
Stone.
We're back to
Ben,
Russia
shut the hell
collusion.
up.
They didn't even get in
Ben,
trouble
shut the
Are
with
we
hell up.
really
Vaccinating
back to
anything
Russia
with Russia.
collusion? One of the
There was
great.
nothing
Because
with
it
Russia
again,
with them.
it
You're
actually
We're back to
he
Russia
also
collusion,
pardoned-
which
he
was
also
one of the
pardoned
great
Jared
lies
Kushner's
of
father,
that whole
Charles
period.
Kushner. Charles Kushner is now going to be the ambassador
We're
to
going full
France. He also
conspiracy
pardoned.
theory now.
He also pardoned the Blackwater
This is why we won,
employees
Piers.
who murdered 14 unarmed Iraqi civilians that we know about thanks to Chelsea Manning whistleblowing, right, and to WikiLeaks. He pardoned those monsters. He's pardoned a lot of people, and so those people,
Hey,
arguably,
Piers,
have
did
had more
Donald Trump
impact on my
ever
life
pardon his own
than Hunter
kids?
Biden and his laptop. And $1.4 million in tax evasion, Piers, you know you do that like on a Tuesday. Come on. Wait, hang on. Guys, oh, my beeper's going off. Jerdusky's a bitch. Oh. Jerdusky, I think this is for you.
Is
I'll
this
call
like
him
a
back.
comic? This is giving me a very bad reputation of female comics who people already don't think are funny. I don't know. I think the problem right now.
Except I just owned your ass. But you look really cute in your sweater.
You didn't. You made a very lame joke that was like 3 weeks old. Congratulations. You're very funny.
I thought you were
think that the problem right now with the Biden.
Tell me about your joke again.
Sorry, Destiny.
Okay.
Will the two MAGA people here, will you guys defend when Donald Trump pardons the January 6th rioters or anybody that was convicted in connection to the January 6th stuff? If he goes for the seditious conspiracy people, will you defend that pardon?
Ryan?
I've said this before. I'll say it again.
Well, let me bring Ryan in. Hang on. Let me bring Ryan in on that one.
I think with the January 6th, you're talking about several hundred, if not several thousand people. And I think the question is I don't think that he should pardon anyone who did something violent. I don't think that an attack, but I do think that when you look at the sentencing and how some January 6th people have been treated is remarkable, considering some people have solitary confinement for months on end. People are treated much worse doing a January 6th stuff than a murderer. So I do think that depending on what they are accused of and what they have been tried on, I think a pardon could be warranted. I don't think that anyone who violently attacks somebody should be pardoned, though.
So if they go to pardon the people convicted of seditious conspiracy that weren't involved in direct violent activity, you would support those pardons?
I'd have to see the individual case. I don't really know. Particularly, it's not my beat.
You don't know about seditious conspiracy charges. Some of the first in decades. It's unbelievable.
I just said I'd have to look. I just said I'd have to look at them individually.
On the Hunter Biden pardon, and they don't even know.
What a great
I don't know who was convicted.
Read about the individual cases.
I have no idea.
Before you decide.
I'll tell you what. Let Ben answer Destiny's question.
Yeah, I'll go back to this. If you look at each and every case, and you look at how they were throwing the book at everybody, there are different people that did different things. If you attacked a police officer, you deserve to be in jail for that. If you're an 87-year-old grandmother that was walking around outside the Capitol and they hunted them down and put them in jail and they didn't do anything violent, you do not deserve to be in jail for that, even if you're charged with the word seditious in any of the complaints. There are different cases and different people, and there was clear abuse of power where they walked in, they said, anyone that we got that day or anyone we have on video, even if they were nonviolent, even if they weren't doing anything, even if police officers let them into the Capitol on video, they overcharged them, and there are many people that deserve to be pardoned. If you attacked a police officer, if you broke through a door, if you were doing things like that, you absolutely deserve to be in jail for that. And it goes back to an idea. You look at each case individually and you decide based on each case individually before you do a pardon. That's what I'm in favor of. It's not insane to say I would want to look at each case to see what they actually did compared to what the government lied and said they did. There's a big difference.
Okay. Hang on, please. I'm going to bring in Lindy Lee.
Is it on your beeper?
Hang on a second.
Is it on your beeper you're going to say?
Hang on.
Read your beeper again.
Hang on. I'm going to bring in Lindy Lee.
Also a bitch,
I'm bringing in
that's what it
Lindy
says.
Lee, a member of the DNC Finance Committee, who's been highly critical of the Harris campaign. Lindy, good to see you again.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, where are the Democrats, Lindy? I mean, after the Joe Biden pardon, this is probably the last thing Democrats would have wanted on God's earth.
I'm going to have to agree with you. This is 11 years. The pardon covered 11 years. It was sprawling. And I think, the next one we should watch for is possibly him pardoning James Biden. Because 11 years not only covered, his presidency, but also his VP time and also Hunter's time during Burisma. And it's just so incredibly ironic. And I'm speaking as a Democrat. That even Democrats and members of the intelligence community said that laptop was just a made-up story. Now, in one fell swoop, Biden basically proved his haters right, that there was something in that laptop. And I hate to say it, but it's just true. This is just a black eye to his legacy.
And by the way, on the laptop, let's not forget, the New York Post had the laptop scoop, and liberal-controlled big tech at the time, including Twitter, Facebook and others, they suppressed that story from being published. In fact, hang on. In fact, the New York Post, because I write columns to the New York Post, for 2 weeks before that election, their whole Twitter account was suspended because they refused to take down a legitimate, true story, as it turned out. That is an appalling attack on free speech. an abuse of the First Amendment, and actually it could have swung the election. Who knows? If that laptop story had come out and been properly forensically examined by the media, it could have tipped the election Trump's way. 40,000 votes.
Talking about it.
40,000 votes in the end decided that election. So hang on, I'm still with Lindy. I'm still with Lindy, Francesca. Wait one moment,
Just
please.
talk about the laptop.
Just play me your buzzer for a moment. Thank you. Lindy, here's my point, is that it's not just about Hunter Biden being dragged into something. The laptop contained evidence of crimes, and it was suppressed from the media in that 2-week period before that election. And that is a much bigger picture than whether Hunter Biden got pulled out post, had the laptop.
Talk about the laptop.
Just play me your buzzer for a moment. Thank you. Lindy, here's my point, is that it's not just about Hunter Biden being dragged into something. The laptop contained evidence of crimes, and it was suppressed from the media in that 2-week period before that election. And that is a much bigger picture than whether Hunter Biden got pulled into politics.
Right. And I think this is not just an act of love. It wasn't just a father's compassion. It was almost perhaps even an act of self-preservation, because we don't know what happened in those 11 years. It's covered everything from 2014 to December 1st, 2024. So this whole thing is gigantic. And I think in the next couple of weeks, we're going to see more pardons coming out. I think this is really just the tip of the iceberg. My guess would be that he might even pardon people who were involved in Hunter's business. Who knows? I'm guessing
They've been investigating Hunter for 8 years.
All right, let's bring in Francesca, if she's put her buzzer down. Francesca.
8 years. Where are the charges?
There are none.
Statute of limitations, bro.
They started the investigation 8 years ago when they had the laptop. What do you mean statute of limitations?
You go back to when the crimes were committed.
Hunter Biden sat on a call and he said, "I'm here with my father. You know, we expect you to follow through." He basically shook down a Chinese business person.
Oh my
He
goodness.
did it time and time again.
Can I ask you a question? Do you
And
care?
even,
Does anyone here care
even a
that
venerable
Jared
medical
Kushner?
media institution like CBS said that 10% to the big guy can't be anybody but Joe Biden. And I hate saying this.
Oh, I didn't know CBS was part of the DOJ. Is CBS going to bring charges?
We lose all credibility if we do not acknowledge reality.
Oh my God.
All right.
Let me just say, Lindy, you lost all credibility. What happened to you, dude? Who are you? I don't even know. Lindy Lee's out here. She's been like the face of the resistance for so long, and now she's coming on these programs making this rightward turn. It's pretty disgusting. You've got millions of followers. She's absolutely doing that. I don't even know.
Hang on, don't all shout, please. Don't all shout.
You don't even.
Francesca, have your say.
You don't even believe what you're saying.
Hang on, please.
Really
don't all talk at once.
Super sick.
Time out. No one can hear you when you all shout over each other. No one can hear you.
I don't even care. I don't even know you.
No one can hear you.
You are so embarrassed.
No one can hear you when you all talk at the same time.
I know, because
please
I
stop
make a name
talking.
for myself.
Francesca,
Francesca, and now you're heel turning because your side.
Francesca,
that's
stop
so
talking.
Sick.
No, for God's sake.
Yes, that's exactly what you're doing. That's exactly what you're doing.
Doesn't mean that I'm just going to go on national TV and
who's
lie
been
for
kind
him.
to you? Oh, nobody's asking. Oh, is that what you've been doing? Is lying for Biden? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I just said that I'm not. I refuse to do that. I'm here. Piers Morgan invited me. I'm here to tell him the truth. I owe that to him, to his viewers. I'm not going to gaslight anybody.
You are so embarrassing.
Was a bad
dude.
idea.
This is why Democrats suck.
When you all talk over each other, nobody can hear you.
I'm talking.
Sorry, can I just please have a moment of quiet? Please,
like
panel.
Lindy Lee here.
Panel, just to be clear.
I haven't made a
sorry,
single
Lindy,
penny from
please.
anything that I've done.
Please be quiet, all of you. When you all talk, nobody at home watching can hear a damn word any of you are saying. So you can keep doing it, and I'll just end the whole thing, because it's pointless. Now, Francesca, if you've got allegations to make about Lindy, make them now, and then Lindy, you respond. Let's do it the old-fashioned way, where people can actually hear a damn thing you're saying. Francesca.
Okay, quickly, and I mean no disrespect. I just feel that it is so funny that the Democratic Party has also surrounded itself, like the Republican Party, with honestly opportunistic grifters like Lindy Lee, who has posited herself as someone who actually cares about American democracy, spotlighting the threats that Trump has posed and will continue to pose to the American people. And now that the Harris campaign lost, which I think was definitely their election to lose, given just how much Trump was like not even trying, and he didn't win by the popular vote he won by less than 50%. Harris dropped the ball. Lindy Lee was all in on the campaign, and now she's pivoting because she's like, you know what? I want to go to the winning side. And now the Hunter Biden laptop story is a thing. That's just so craven and so pathetic. And I'm someone who has not received a single dollar from the Democratic Party or any
Neither
institution
have I.
to talk about my views.
Neither have I.
And you have made so much money off of it.
I will
And
let
it's
Lindy.
so pathetic.
Now
It's
I will
pathetic.
let Lindy respond. Hang on, Lindy. Hang on, Lindy. Hang on, Lindy. I will now let you respond.
Tell me one person who's paid me.
I don't know, girl.
Who's
I don't
paid
know.
me?
You tell me. Who's
You're just
paid?
making
You
up
tell
shit.
me.
You're just making up shit. Are we allowed to curse on here?
Yeah.
I don't need
uncensored.
anybody's
Go off.
money. No one has paid me. You're just making this is like libelous. It's defamation. No one has
obviously
paid me.
no one has to pay you. It's all about influencerdom, right? It's
Now
about
you're changing
using
your
your
story.
name
Don't
and your
change your
brand.
story. Just
Why-
a minute
why is
ago,
your
you
brand
said
changing?
that I was a grifter
Why-
and I was
no,
getting
I
paid.
never
and I
said
made
you did. I
so
said
many
I didn't.
dollars.
But
You're
why are
making
you
it up. I
changing
don't
your
know
brand?
who you are, respectfully.
Why are you?
But I have
You
other
don't need to know
things.
who
So
I am.
Gavin
Why are you
Newsom,
changing
who
your brand?
came out
No one
against the
does.
pardon, is
She's
he a
a very
grifter too?
unfunny female
Is
comic.
Governor Jared Polis also a grifter for
Ryan.
saying that the pardon was a bad idea because Joe Biden repeatedly lied? If you're going to pardon your son, fine. There are arguments in favor of that. But why did you have to lie repeatedly and say that you weren't? He lied after
lying
the
is bad.
election. And in
It's like
terms of
saying
the
that
Harris
COVID-19 is
campaign,
just a
I
cold
did not
and then a
find out-
million
Can I
Americans are
please
dead.
finish the
Lying
sentence?
really
Why
is
do you
bad.
insist on talking over people again and again?
This is mental illness.
In terms of the Harris campaign, I raised millions of dollars for that campaign. I donated buildings in a church to the campaign. I did not find out until after she lost that millions were spent on, for example, $2.5 million was spent on Oprah. $500 million went to just 4 well-connected Democratic firms, including Bully
welcome
Pulpit.
to the political
And it's-
revolution, girl. The
Can you
Democratic Party
please-
won't save
I
you.
don't know what's going on with you, but can you please let somebody finish? Thank you so much.
Please finish.
And also, and millions of dollars to celebrities. It's in millions of dollars to private planes and also 5-star hotels for campaign staffers. I have donors who donated anywhere from $10 to $25 of their hard-earned money to $1 million. They are fuming. And we had no idea this was going on. The campaign, during the campaign, said that we were going to win 3 to 4 battleground states. That was what we were expecting. Jen O'Malley Dillon went around the world telling people that we were definitely going to win the campaign. But they knew all along, now we know, they knew all along that Kamala Harris was losing. She was behind Trump the entire time. But when she was with us donors, when they were whining and dining us, they told us a completely different
They
story.
were clearly lying. Let me bring in Destiny about something else. Let's talk about Trump's cabinet picks and 2 of the most contentious. Pete Hegseth in defense, obviously, and Kash Patel to the FBI. Do you believe that those nominations should be approved?
I know more about Patel. The other Fox News flunky is a loser as well. I mean, I
He
would say
served his
no,
country
but I mean,
with great valor. He's not a loser, is he?
That's great. I can think of a lot of losers that have served their country with great valor. Trump has called a lot of them losers, so I don't even know why you would think just because somebody's a veteran doesn't mean that they're not a horrible fit for a particular job. I don't know. I don't know that's what we were doing here. The Patel guy is insane. He wrote a storybook for children about how Donald Trump was the king and evil people were coming towards him with like false claims of corruption. It's just the most insane stuff I've ever seen in my entire life. But I mean, it's on par for Donald Trump. So I mean, if it wasn't these guys, it would be somebody else insane or crazy. It'd be another person under, I guess, an ethics complaint for, I guess, going after minors like Gates, or it would be some other insane person. So, I mean, what are you supposed to say? Yeah. The Republicans have no standards. They are amoral. They have no care for how any of these departments are ran. They have no understanding for how any of these departments are ran.
30 seconds ago. Wow.
Let me bring in Ben Ferguson to respond.
Yeah, I love how they're like upset over a guy that actually served his country, who has stood up for veterans and made sure that veterans dealing with PTSD get what they need and have a government that actually listens to them and doesn't treat them like an old car they throw out back. But 30 seconds ago, after you mock him, you're acting like Hunter Biden's a great guy. Like, it's pretty darn rich. Here's what I'll say about these two individuals. Kash Patel is a guy that was being investigated by the federal government when they were going after him, trying to connect him to a fake Russiagate issue. And the only reason why I knew that there was abuse of power happening at the DOJ and the FBI is because he was told by Google 5 years later. No one else told him that, hey, by the way, they were trying to get dirt on you and they looked at everything you'd ever done online. That is an abuse of power. I love the guy going in there to stop that type of abuse of power. I think he's going to be confirmed based on the senators I've talked to. They look at what his life work is. They like him. As for Pete, I think Pete's a guy that understands that it's not a good idea just to go to war and not realize what happens to the people you send afterwards. He's been an incredible advocate for mental health issues with men and women in the military. And he's made it clear after going to Iraq and Afghanistan and to Gitmo, serving his country and getting significant awards for battle, that, hey, you come back a different person and we need to take care of our men and women in the military. But most importantly, we don't need to send them into endless wars and or wars that don't make any sense, that have nothing actually to do with America. I thought Democrats would be in favor of that mindset. I'm in favor of that mindset. And if that makes him a bad guy,
We're traitors. It's in our DNA.
like that, running the DOD, that's perfect for me.
Okay.
Wait, I'm curious. Wait, Ben, is there a single criticism you have for Donald Trump on the way that he's engaged with, say, the Department of Justice?
With the people he's picking now?
No,
I didn't like Matt Gaetz. I didn't defend Matt Gaetz, if that's what you're asking. I thought Matt Gaetz was a bad pick.
No,
I
in the
just
way that he engaged
criticized.
with his Department of Justice in the past, when he was president, do you have a single criticism for how he did any of that?
I do. I think he should have fired James Comey day one. And I think he should have fired the bad actors in the deep state that were working against him from 16 through 20, trying to go after people like General Flynn and bait them at the White House, thinking they're serving their country, having a conversation with the FBI. And he goes on stage and laughs about it, basically saying, I'm trying to set someone up so I can use them against the sitting president of the United States of America that you're supposed to actually be serving because you don't like him politically. Yes, I will criticize Donald Trump for not firing him day one.
Okay.
Was Bill Barr, was Bill Barr part of the deep state?
I'm not a Bill Barr fan. Like I haven't been for a long time. I think Bill Barr is an established. Let me answer the question. You asked the question. I think Bill Barr did not serve the president well, and I think Bill Barr cared more about what people. Let me finish. You asked a question. I'm answering it. I think Bill Barr served Washington well. I am answering it. You just said, do I think Bill Barr? You asked me a question. I'm answering it. You don't like my answer. That's okay. But let me finish it.
No, I asked
Bill Barr had a major problem when Bill Barr was there. He cared more about serving the people inside of Washington than the American people or the president of the United States of America. It's that simple. Your job is to serve the president.
Who's he talking to right now? Is he talking to me?
I'm talking to you. I'm sorry that you can't figure that out, bro.
Hold on. I don't know if maybe your earpiece is not working. Was
Check
Bill
your
Barr?
pager. Maybe you guys have wrong pagers
the Attorney
right now.
General of the United States of America, of the Department of Justice, was Bill Barr part of the deep state?
I think I just said it a second ago.
You're a coward. You're such a coward. You're such a loser. A loser and a coward.
Okay, name calling is like third grade, and I understand that's what you're doing. I'm answering the question, and I'm sorry it's above your intellect. Piers, let me answer the question to you. Let me answer the question to you. Piers, Piers, is the deep state Washington, D.C.? Is the deep state Washington, D.C.? Yes. And I just said, and I'm sorry that your intellectual ability doesn't get you to this level, but I said Bill Barr cared more about what people in Washington, D.C., which is the deep state, thought of him than the American people or serving the president. I just said it again. I even translate it for you. I'm sorry you can't play at this level. It's not my fault.
It's a simple yes or no question,
clearly you did. You clearly needed a translation.
All right.
Can I just agree with Ben? Can I just say that I do think that Pete Hegseth actually is a good choice to oversee the U.S. military? I think they have a lot in common, just like the U.S. military Pete Hegseth doesn't practice consent, when raping and pillaging other people, and I think the U.S. military does the same thing. They rape and pillage other countries.
You just made an outrageously defamatory comment about Pete Hegseth, which is simply not borne out by facts.
At operating budgets, he was able to tank the budgets of 2 U.S. veterans organizations successfully. And as someone who doesn't want to see more wars abroad, if he can tank the Pentagon's budget, I am all for it. I think it's beautiful. You know what's disgusting? Disgusting is drugging and raping a Republican woman who is staying in the same hotel room with her husband and her child in the same hotel room. She wakes up, she has no memory of what happened, and Pete Hegseth paid her an NDA, to keep quiet about it. Ben, how many people? Number one, Ben, can you shut up? Ben, welcome to the big leagues.
The big leagues is when you actually talk facts and you don't slander people on TV, for goodness sakes. God, you're a terrible person. You really are.
I know you feel. Look, best boy.
You just accused somebody of raping people.
I know that he bought you of.
You're a disgusting human being when you say that with no facts.
No,
so
I don't want to
being
go back to Hunter.
accused of rape is more disgusting than
Francesca
raping, Ben?
has
Do you think being
obviously
accused of rape is
seriously
more disgusting
defamed
than
Pete
raping? Let me
Hegseth.
ask
It'll
you
be
a
up to
question.
Pete Hegseth if he wants to take any action over it. There's obviously no
Ben,
evidence
do you think
he raped
rape is
anybody.
worse
He's not
than being
been convicted of
rape?
raping anybody, as
He's
you
never
know.
been accused of rape.
So when you call him a
you're
rapist, you are defaming
Because
him.
when you pay people,
I hope you get sued.
I will. Every time I'm innocent, I always pay people off.
I want to be there to tell you what she said.
Every time I'm innocent, I always have them sign an NDA.
Right. So you think everyone who signs an NDA is guilty, do you? Everyone who signs an NDA is guilty of the crime, are they?
Not the person who signs it, but making someone sign an NDA, it's kind of a giveaway.
Actually, no, it's not. That's simply not true in law. You don't understand law. So if you did, you'd understand that's not the case.
He doesn't understand a lot of things.
There are NDAs signed every day, every hour of every day, all over America, with no admission of any guilt whatsoever.
I will
and no
say
suggestion
Pete
of
is
any
a really
crime.
good choice because honestly, it's not actually rape or war if you were drunk the whole time.
Right.
So
okay. You know what?
when we invade Iran and he's drunk the whole time, which he's known to be,
it's a massive Grand Canyon-sized hole, and you may live to regret it. Anyway, I've got to leave it there. Thank you all very much to my panel. It was incredibly enjoyable, he says, lying. Let me bring in the former Chief of Staff to President Donald Trump, Mick Mulvaney, who's in London. Welcome.
That was fun. Is it like that every night here?
It can be. It can be when you get the more Vesuvian-like members. Yes.
I'm going to take that clip, and when people ask me why Washington is broken, I have an answer for that, which is Washington isn't broken. It just reflects the country.
Right.
And I'll play the last 20 minutes and say these are not elected officials. These are just ordinary citizens.
Yes.
So that is the country I live in right now.
There's a lot of screaming.
Yeah.
A lot of people implacably opposed to the other side, not prepared to give an inch. Facts don't really matter all the time. And a lot of heat. What's the answer to that?
Doing better. I do worry about the next generation. I teach a lot of students. I deal with young people, and I am very, very disturbed by their inability to change their mind if they get new information. And that, I think, is a very dangerous place to be. How are those, and I don't know any of those folks, by the way, that you just had on there, but how are they going to be, when they're the leaders of the country 10 and 15 and 20 years now, how are they going to solve Social Security in my country? How are they going to deal with the debt? How are they going to deal with Russia and China and Taiwan if they can't even have a conversation?
You work obviously very closely with Trump. You were Chief of Staff. I wrote a column for the New York Post this week after talking to him last week. He rang me for a chat. I've known him a long time. And I said, I really do feel he's a slightly changed man. I don't think he's lost the pugilistic streak. I don't think he's lost the trash talking or any of the things which make him a unique and divisive character. I just felt that two things have changed him. One was surviving being shot. And I spoke to him the week after and a few times since. I really felt that had a profound effect on him. And secondly, winning such a big mandate, I think in his eyes, proving his point about the 2020 election, which he says he has always said he won. He believes he's now been You see, I told you, I don't agree with him, but he does. But secondly, he's got such a mandate now. He's got everything that he could have possibly wanted. And the people that voted for him came from the white community, the black community, the Latino, right across the board. And in a way, the opposition to Trump is so different to what it was in 2016, where hundreds of thousands were marching, and it was really febrile, the atmosphere. There's an acceptance from the left now. Well, what can we say? And then when you have Biden
pardoning Hunter, all the high moral ground you were probably looking forward to having against Trump in the next few years about lying or hypocrisy or shamelessness or nepotism, it's all gone out the window.
Not even that, just the politicization of the Department of Justice.
Right.
Keep in mind, if Biden had come out and said, look, my son was an addict, he did it, he's guilty, I can't stand to see my son go to prison.
Yes.
I think every parent can understand, I have the ability to pardon him, I'm going to do it, I've changed my mind. I don't think anybody would be able to criticize him for that. But what he said was, I'm doing this because he was targeted by a politicized Department of Justice. And that plays right into Donald Trump's hands.
And by the
if I'm
way,
Trump, I love that message.
And if that was his